So the speaking test actually doesn't happen on the same day. Mostly 99.9% of the times, it happens on another day, and you might have it before your LRW test or after that. The speaking test is actually an interview that won't test your knowledge at all. So seems a kind of paradox, but it's it is what it is. This speaking test happens um, as in between 11 and 14 minutes, and it is divided into three parts: part one, part two, and part three. Uh, okay, and again, there are band descriptors that I'll be explaining to you in this class only. Part one will last 4 to 5 minutes. Part two will last 3 to 4 minutes. And part three will last 4 to 5 minutes. So cumulatively, you will have to be there for about 11 to 14 minutes. The thing is that, as I told you at the beginning only, that it is not about your knowledge, but it is an interview. That is that you will go there in a hotel, you will sit with the examiner face to face, and the examiner is going to ask you some questions. But at any point, the examiner will not be testing what you are saying. It will only be reliant on how you are presenting your thoughts. They can be answering the question, they can be answering that why you don't know the answer, or something of that sort. You can go in any direction, but as in it doesn't matter, as in sorry, it does matter that how you present things is corresponding to the band descriptors. Apart from that, as in one thing that I told you in the writing test, that you cannot go off topic, ideas matter a lot. Here at the very beginning, I want to tell you that ideas don't matter at all. Ideas have no value in the speaking test, and you can be free, you can be explaining why you don't know the answer, and that is as good as explaining the answer itself. That is perfectly fine. You don't have to worry about the fact that suppose something of this sort has been asked and you are blank about it. That doesn't mean that you should stop speaking. You should speak about as in why you don't know about it and what related to it you know, or how you do not know anything about it, and it will be perfect, no problem. Okay, so let's break it down. First of all, let's talk about part one. Before part one, I tell you one thing: there's a part zero also, but it doesn't contribute anything to your score or anything. Part zero is that when you enter the room, sit with the examiner or something, and then the examiner is going to ask you your name, how he or she should address you, and your location, like where you have come from, or something of that sort. The examiner is going to see your passport also, and he'll instruct you on this fact that the test is being recorded. They record, hopefully, as in they record the test, the speaking test, because there might be a case that a person goes for re-evaluation, so they have to have a speaking record so that they can evaluate your performance later also, in case, sorry, in case the candidate has asked for a re-evaluation of his or her speaking test. Now, part zero will not contribute to anything, but then the examiner will say, we are going to start part one. And part one will deal with you. So what normally happens is that the examiner will ask you about approximately, I'm saying, 7 to 9 questions, and they'll be from different genres. For instance, let's take an example. Like, okay, I tell you what my experience was. So it could be, he'll say, let's talk about your hometown. Then he'll ask you some questions, maybe one, two, or let's say 3 questions from the hometown topic. Then the examiner will say, okay, now let's talk about plants. Again, 2-3 questions. Okay, now I would like to ask some questions regarding your hobbies. And 2-3 questions. And the thing is done. Then the examiner will say, okay, part 1 is over, and we may proceed to part 2 now. Things of those sorts. Okay, for instance, I'm gonna open a speaking test also side by side. One second. Isha, can you see your Google screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one second. So the one that has been expanded. So see part 1, like television programs. Where do you usually watch TV programs? Why or why not? What's your favorite TV program? Are there any programs or shows that you don't like or something of this sort in part 1 only? Now the thing is that how your speaking is evaluated. Uh, there are descriptors again. I'm going to display them now. One second. Visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
The speaking band descriptors. Isha?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay. Fine. So see now, if you may see, the first indicator, the first descriptor is fluency and coherence. Now, fluency is that how good you are at continuing your speech, and coherence is that alongside the fact that you are speaking at a very natural pace without any awkward pauses, your speech has logic. Suppose listen to this. What I'm going to say. I is there which happens, nothing that belongs to this thing. This is fluent but not coherent. I am here and this fact is going to rock you. This is both fluent and coherent. So both factors are required. You have to be fluent, you have to be coherent. Now, will only because you require a band 7 at least in speaking, so will not go any lower than 8 now in the descriptors. So if you see 9 says speaks fluently with only rare repetition or self-correction. Any hesitation is content related rather than to find words or grammar. Speaks coherently with fully appropriate cohesive features. Develops topics fully and appropriately. Now, by the very nature of the questions, it happens that a student might not think about speaking at length because the question is like, what are some TV programs that you like? So only if you name them, you are going to get a very low score, as in you have not developed the topic. So the first settling point is that you have to develop topics. Even if a question is as simple as this one, for instance, okay, let's take a question, the one we were actually, when we saw the one. So is the question paper in front of you?
Yes, sir.
So where do you usually watch TV programs or shows? First, I ask you this question, just answer it.
Usually watch TV program shows. So can we take a like pause in between while speaking
Yeah.
the questions, or?
As in, they should not be unnatural. Actually, I've done this thing today, but I did that. I actually took a question paper and answered the questions as I would be doing if they were asked to me in a real test. That video you can. It was not. I was not able to upload it on YouTube because of the question paper was getting blurred on that app. But I have uploaded it on Instagram. I'll give you the link. You can see as in how natural poses are perfectly fine.
Right, sir.
You do not have to be a robot for sure, as in it is not that I have fed a command into you and you have to give me the output on the spot. But of course, it's a natural tendency that when we are speaking, when we are operated, we actually tend to give answers as in spontaneously. But then again, even in Hindi or Punjabi, when we are asked questions, we take pauses. It is not anything that you should be talking like a podcast or anything. It's long and short. Yes, pauses are fine, but they should not be too many. Okay, answer.
So basically, we nowadays we have TV programs on like on digital mode. Like we have many apps. We can say like Woot or
Mhm.
Prime Plus and etc. So basically, like this phase, it's correct.
See, the thing is that you are trying to fabricate a, I would say, an organized answer. That is not required. That is not wrong, because speaking doesn't give you time to prepare answers. So of course they are actually looking for, I would say, an organic conversation where people develop ideas while speaking. So that is perfectly fine. Whatever way you tell the answer is, if it is, fulfilling the requirements of the band descriptors, it is as good. It is as good as nectar. Um, you know, didn't I tell you at the very beginning of the session that ideas don't matter?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give you 3 answers to this question, and each of them is fine. Let's see. Where do you usually watch TV programs or shows? I don't watch TV programs or shows, as in, I'm not a person who would see TV programs. TV programs are very cliched. Who's going to see a mother-in-law fighting a daughter-in-law? They're stupid. This is fine. I usually watch TV programs on my phone only, as in I do not have time to sit at home and watch TV or anything. And when I am actually free at my workplace, I actually log into the app that has all these programs, and I am actually busy with the Small Idiot Box. Another one, I watch TV programs with my family, as in that is the only time I can spend with them. And my mother and I actually love this show called Sasural Se Marka, as in one of the things. So every answer is fine, just that it should be developed.
Right,
It
sir.
should not be I watched the shows in my room. This is a bad answer.
Right, sir.
Fine. So the first thing is that you have to be very, I would say, you should expand on what are you saying, even if it is very insignificant, no problem. And there is no, I would say, condition that you should be speaking on point or speaking as in whatever has been asked to you. You should have this history and you should have this knowledge. Nothing of this sort. For instance, Isha, since you're a banker, just ask me a, I would say, very specific banking term, as in which you presume that I won't know?
So saving
It's-
plans or something.
Yeah. So you say that tell me about this XYZ savings plan. So I don't have any idea about it, honestly. I would rather talk about that thing, that ABC plan. That is better because it has a higher interest rates. This XYZ is out of my domain. Perfectly fine, no problem. Since I have made my point clear using, I would say, expanded speech, perfectly fine.
Correct, sir. I got it.
Got it? Sure. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, now let's see the difference between 8 and 9. 8 says speaks fluently with only occasional repetition or self-correction. Hesitation is usually content related and only rarely to search for language. Develops topics coherently and appropriately. Now see again, as we saw in the writing descriptors also, so are we seeing in this in these speaking descriptors that the difference between 9 and 8 is the difference between fully and sufficiently. So fully would get you higher score. Sufficiently will get you a respectable score. 8 is an excellent, I would say, score, but as in why to leave out even one iota, as in when we know the difference. And apart from that, that also I've made, I think, clear to you that you don't have to have knowledge about anything, everything. Okay, let's move on to part 2 then. So part 1 dealt with your personality, your tastes, and your, I would say, characteristics, as in how your experiences have been, what your hobbies are, what you like to eat, and blah, blah, blah. Part 2 will test your ability to speak at length. It's going to be a card that is going to have a situation. Situation actually can be related to the past, related to the present, or the future. And a typical cue card will look like this. I'm going to show you. Can you see the second part? Describe someone you know who has started a business. So you're going to talk about a person related to this, and then there are going to be sub points. You should say blah, blah, blah. Now what happens is that you get 1 minute to prepare for it, and then you have to speak for 1 to 2 minutes, but it is recommended that you speak for the full 2 minutes. Do not stop at any point until the examiner has stopped you. The thing is that you won't have a watch. First of all, it's going to be the right of the examiner to make you start and stop. It will be like, okay, your topic is this. Okay, part 1 has ended. Now let's move on to part 2. In this part, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a topic. You'll have 1 minute to prepare for it, and you'll have to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. I'll tell you when to start and when to stop. I'm imitating an examiner. I'm going to tell you as in when to start and when to stop. So don't worry when I stop you. So the problem is that we don't have a watch over there, and it's going to be with the examiner. And when the 2 minutes are over, when first of all, when the 1 minute is over, when you are preparing for it, the examiner will tell you that the time is over. You have to speak now, and you keep speaking for 2 minutes, no problem. And when the 2 minutes are over, the examiner will again say that your time is over. You may stop. Now the thing is that, as you saw, that first you had a heading, then you had some sub points. Okay, so remember, this is the only thing that matters. These don't matter. So if you don't want to incorporate them into your answer, no problem, leave them out. So describe someone you know who has started a business. So that is the only thing that you need to speak about, and you can speak about it for the whole of the 2 minutes. You do not have to incorporate the sub points if you don't wish to. You can use them, no problem. Again, now what happens is that people say we max out very early in the cue card section, because we don't get ideas. First of all, ideas don't have a mark or anything. So when you have chosen the heading, when you have started talking about the business person, as in who comes to your mind with this phrase, business person?
Sir, Ratan Tata. Like
Okay,
he's
so you can, yeah, please go
from
on. So
India. He's one of the best
fine,
businessman.
great. So you can talk about Mr. Ratan Tata, like he is this, he is that, he. Then you can talk about his, I would say, because you have to speak for 2 minutes, and you don't know the path of your time, so no problem. So you talk about Ratan Tata, Mr. Ratan Tata. You speak about what he does and how much money he has and all. At a point when you feel that you don't want, you can't speak about him more, it's okay, no problem. You can take another route. You can say, another business person I can talk about is Mukesh Ambani. No problem. You can, even if the card says that you have to speak for 2 minutes, sorry, you have to speak about a business person, you can talk about 5 business persons. There is no problem in that, and I will prove it to you. I'm as in from the real sources, as in there's no problem in, I would say, you know, there is no, I would say, right answer again in the speaking part also. It's great, as in if you can speak about Mr. Ratan Tata only for about 2 minutes, and if you at a point feel that okay, I have my Ratan Tata, as in buffer is now finished, I want to talk about another person. Or you can do this, you can make a fake story. So I met Ratan Tata at this point and we talked about that and blah blah blah. That is perfectly fine, no problem. Or you can talk about his kids, or you can, as in at a certain point, or you can keep talking about his wife, or you can make a hypothetical situation like, if I meet Ratan Tata, I'm going to do this. Or you can talk about his negatives also, no problem, everything is fine. Just that your answer should start with the business person. Again, this is not, I would say, this is not the gospel truth that you have to start like this, but the answer should follow from where the question has landed you. You should not be like, talk about a successful business person and you start like Ratan Tata's wife is great. This is a bit wrong. This might give the examiner the idea that you have not understood the question. You can start like, Ratan Tata is the person I'm going to talk about, but let's talk about his wife first. This is perfectly fine. If you don't want to talk about Ratan Tata at the beginning also, but since you have given the, I would say, the starting point that is, as in correctly attached to the question, the job is done. Now I show you, now this might seem awkward to you that since the question asks for a specific personality, how can we go from that personality to another, or how can we go off topic? But since the descriptors don't require you to be very very organized, or very very, I would say, stipulated, or limited to a topic, so we have the opportunity, and that is required. As in, I can tell you, in one of my tests, my cue card was talk about a helpful person. So first what I did was that I changed my name and talked about myself. And then at a point when I was not able to think about myself also, I do not have the, as in the time split when I started talking about the other thing. But at a certain point, I started talking about my father, like the helpful person's father is a banker and blah, blah, blah. So that is also fine. As in, for about 1 minute, 30 seconds, I talked about myself, roughly I'm saying, and 30 seconds about my father. As in, I got an 8.5, which is nearly perfect. So no problem in that. Now, let me show you something.
Sir, in this cue card, can we make any other story like?
You can make any story.
Right, sir.
You can even talk about your father, no problem. Okay, what he does, sorry. Is your father an employee or a businessman?
Businessman.
Yeah, you can talk about him, no problem. Since the question says that about a business person, it doesn't mean that you have to talk about only the business aspect of the person. You can talk about his hobbies and all also, perfectly fine. There is no right answer, again saying, and I'm repeating it because it's gonna hamper your performance in the initial rounds, but with time you will sail through it. And okay, I can give you a small tip, that consider that you are at Coffee with Karan, and then I don't think you have to make sense. You get me?
Yes, sir.
I'm just opening up Instagram so that I can show you the real thing. Is it visible to you? What is in front of you?
Sir, the previous screen only.
Okay, one sec, I redo it. Okay, what is in front of you now?
Sir, the previous screen only.
Not an Instagram page, but
No, sir.
now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, one sec. This is their official Instagram page. So it's IELTS Essentials. Okay, let's see this. Is it audible?
No, sir. It's not audible.
Okay, so now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna restart it. First of all, let's see the question. am I allowed to ask my speaking examiner for an alternative speaking topic? As in, for instance, you do not know the answer to a particular question, and can you change the question in that case? Now, hear what he says, and they are the owners of IELTS, not a teacher or anything. Let's see. Audible? No.
Yes, sir. No, again, it's not audible, sir.
Is the person not audible?
No, right now it's not audible.
One sec.
Earlier it was.
Earlier when? As in when I just start, when the first time I started, was it audible?
Sir, after a few seconds, it was audible.
One sec. Now see. Now,
No. Yeah.
no.
No, sir. Now it's audible,
Is it
but
audible?
not. No, sir. It's not that clear.
One sec.
May I just open this link on Instagram?
Okay, do this thing that you watch this video on your phone.
Sir, can you just share the link?
Isha, I'm gonna make you a WhatsApp call, okay? And I'll play the audio there. It will be difficult for you to find it right now. Give me, okay, just pick up my call, okay? Isha,
Yes, sir.
you just need to hear what he's saying. One sec.
Yes, sir.
Am I
Sir,
audible, Isha? Sorry.
yes, sir. You're audible now.
So did you hear what he said as in properly? Was it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
So he
It was
said
said
as
that
in, yeah, please, I would hear from you.
like we should not be that scared. Like if we are not aware, we can just relax and ask him to change.
No, no, no. Okay, it's okay. I think it will take long for me to be able to make you hear that. So I can right now I will tell you, but then you can watch this video on Instagram. I'll give you a link. I'll give you the link. So he has said that even if you have not known about what has been asked, you can always say in the answer that I do not know about this. As in, he said, suppose the topic is that talk about a movie that you have watched and you've never watched a movie. You can say it's fine, perfectly fine. You can say that I've never seen a movie. As in, the cue card topic is that talk about a movie that you have watched, and you as you have not seen the movie as per this person, so you can say I have never seen a movie, and the reason I have not seen a movie is that they are silly, they are expensive. I read books. Now you can talk about books, no problem.
Correct, sir.
Okay, so you can talk about your favorite book after that, whatever the remainder is. As in, you can suppose this declaration that you don't watch movies and you read books has taken, for instance, 30 seconds. Now for the 1 minute and 30 seconds, you can the remaining, then you can speak about your books, or you can continue to speak about why you don't watch movies. Either way, it's perfect. Are we good? Understood, Isha?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So part two is about a topic, but it is not necessary that you stick to the first of all the sub points. That's fine if you want to ignore them. Perfectly fine. And it is again not about knowing the main heading. Also, if you have never seen a movie, if you have never done that activity, you can declare it at the beginning, and then you can talk about what you like and what you do otherwise, or you can elaborate on why you don't do this activity. Fine. So before we move on to part three, let me tell you another bad descriptor, lexical resource. Okay, Isha, this has happened that two times I got an 8.5 in speaking, but one time I've got an 8 also. So difference that I saw was that what I observed afterward was that I was very, very cautious when I was taking that band 8 speaking test. I actually tried to control my language. I was not free. I was trying to speak, I would say, things that I thought would be more academic than things otherwise are. But that is required in writing. Speaking should be as natural as it can be. And the second and the third time when I was not that um, conscious of what I was saying, my score increased by a 0.5, and that to 2 times. So lexical resource was a major factor. I was trying to, lexical resource is a fancy term for vocabulary, nothing else. So try to, as here you can use any word you want. And if it is coming naturally, perfectly fine. Again, I don't say that you have to have um, outrageous words or you have to have a very wide range of vocabulary. But they look for instance, let's see, the band 9 descriptor uses idiomatic language naturally and accurately. Um, Idioms are not only those cliches as in spick and span, part and parcel. That is very colorful language, and a decent person would actually be irritated by them by that. As in, do we talk like this? As in, you are the apple of my eye.
No, sir.
What would you rather say? Mom, the room is clean. Mom, the room is spick and span. Even if you are an English person, you see, as in that is a very, very, English is not only about words. Words have tones also. So you should be speaking, idiomatic vocabulary that actually benefits your score is when you use those phrasal verbs, as in check in, check out, carry out, carry on, figure out. These are good idiomatic vocabulary terms. Or maybe these connectors, on the other hand, by way of excellent vocabulary, you can, I remember in one of my tests, my cue card um, was talk about a mistake that you made. So I started like this. I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room because I was going to tell about a mistake I did as a teacher. So it's okay, perfectly fine. If you want to start, if it is appropriate, and if it is actually having, I did so because I said I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room, which means you're going to talk about a controversial topic. And then I pointed to my stomach and said, barring me, except me, as in I just wanted to compare an elephant with me and to create a humor effect. But that was appropriate. That was to create a light start. But if you are using colorful language aimlessly and needlessly, then it might irritate the examiner. So try to have good words. Here I am actually opposite to what I said in writing, that your vocabulary should be controlled. Be free, be as I would say, try to use some uncommon vocabulary here. It will boost your score. But again, don't have this as in stress on your mind that you have to produce, that you have to churn out words after words. Nothing of that sort. It's okay, because fluency and coherence are the king. So if that's bad, nothing's going to help. They are good even with mediocre features. Otherwise, will take you to a very high score. So increase your vocabulary. But if it is already, full of some academic terms, full of some collocations and these idiomatic vocabulary things, then you are, you're on the roll. And about grammatical range and accuracy, you already know what it is. And here also, like writing, you have to be able to, talk about the past and the present and the future with a good range of accuracy and diversity. About pronunciation, first of all, you don't need an accent. Okay, it's okay to speak in whatever your natural, I would say, pronunciation is. And then some features that can help you. First of all, you can talk about, you can speak, you can use intonation, which again is there naturally, as in the rhythm, the rise and fall of our language. For instance, I want to say this. So if you see in this case, I want to say this, this want had emphasis. I want to say this. I want to say this. So I kind of emphasized want, and say this were relatively, I would say, little emphasized. So this intonation, like where you put the stress, where you are, keeping the things on a lower scale, the register of your speech, that helps you in pronunciation, but it is already there in your language. For instance, if someone, suppose there's a child in despair and he's not able to solve a commerce problem, you go there and say, I will help you. So that I had stress, no, that is a good feature of intonation. And then speech clarity, which you already have. We have spoken, so I have known that your speech is clear. And then connected speech a bit, as in place of saying you are, if you say your, that will give you higher score in pronunciation. In place of saying he is, if you say he's, he apostrophe s, again, good fuel for pronunciation. Did you get me?
Yes, sir.
So, three things.
Sir, I
Sorry.
have a doubt. Like, yesterday you told that while writing we cannot use that gonna do this, or
Yeah.
that we can use in speaking.
Exactly. Speaking is an informal exam. Writing is a formal exam.
Correct, sir.
Fine. So here if you use them, you will get a higher score. There, if you use them, you'll get a lower score. Fine.
Fine, sir.
Even sorry, since you're gonna pay for general training IELTS, your writing will not be that, I would say, formal in tone. So it's okay. I'm going to teach you letters at a point. Writing task 1. Sorry, you are for general, no? Yeah. So I'm going to teach you that your writing task 1 is going to be about letters, not infographics. So that thing, sorry, one sec, my dog is there. So that thing is going to be about letters of varying types, as in you are going to deal with informal letters, you're going to deal with formal letters. So those informal letters need to have such informal features like what's up and as in how you're doing or something. But then if we jump onto formal letters, these will be big turnoffs. So will depend on what you're writing. So let me confirm this thing. We are doing general training IELTS, no? The PR1.
Yes, sir.
I just got a bit confused. So you will not have to deal with the infographics and pie charts and all. You will just be writing letters, and a task 2 is an essay. But since you are appearing for general training IELTS, even if you are not that formal in your language, it will not create a big problem. As in, of course, it should not be anything like that. It seems a WhatsApp message also, but it should be. It will not be. I would say, okay, there's an English term pedantic, that you should be so much attached to the academic norms. It's perfectly fine. So here, long and short, speaking is an informal exam. Try to be as hippie as you can be. Try to be as, I would say, friendly as you can be, rather than talking to a teacher or something. Fine.
Fine, sir.
So descriptors I've explained to you. Let me give you a recap. Fluency and coherence will demand development. One second. Vocabulary will demand some colorful words, some idiomatic vocabulary. Grammar, you know, pronunciation, connected speech, intonation, and clear speech, which most people already have. So I won't burden you with that. Tomorrow, when I can conduct your first speaking test, I'll get to know like what features are there and what you need to have. But if you need a 7 in speaking, you have to have a 7 in each of these skills. Then the average is calculated, no? Suppose
Yes.
you get 7 in fluency, 7 in vocab, 7 in grammar, 7 in pronunciation, then your average will be 28 on 7. Sorry, 28 on 4, 7. Even if you miss out on one of these 7s, you will get a 6.5, as in 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 6. This will be a 6.5. And even 8 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 will come out to be a 7. So the scores are rounded down, not rounded up. In an overall score, your score is actually rounded up, as in, but that is something we'll discuss later. So at least 4 7s you need for you to be able to get an overall 7 in the speaking test. So let's get back to where we were. So I've told you about part 1, part 2, and the freedom that you have to complete your test. You can go in any direction if the direction is full of the features in the band descriptors. You're going to score a very good score. Comes part okay, after speaking part 2 comes a small question called rounding off question. It will be like, okay, so you've talked about a business person. No, so would you like to meet this business person? Yes, I would like to. This is a small question, even one sentence will do. Then comes part 3. Part 3 is called discussion round. Now, in the discussion round, okay, part 1 dealt with you. Part 2 evaluated your ability to speak at length. Now, part 3 will be about your capability to deal with the world. Or I would say your knowledge about the world and your capability, knowledge about the world and your capability of being able to survive at an academic institution. Now, sorry, the discussion topic will be related to your Q card topic. and they'll ask you some general questions about the world. For instance, if you have a cue card of this sort, talk about a time when you went to a fancy hotel. In part 3, a question can be of this sort: what are the advantages of working in a hotel? So the theme will be same, but now questions will require you to speak not about yourself, but about the world in general. Um, what I recommend is that you speak when you give an answer to a part 3 question. I personally, because as you have seen the descriptors, they require development and all those things. So I say whenever you give an answer, give 2 points and then explain them. Let me show you part 3 question once. See, part 3 question 1. What kinds of jobs do young people, sorry, what kinds of jobs do young people not want to do in your country? Not want to do in your country. Could you give me an answer to this one?
Sir, like basically, people who are here don't like to be a janitor,
Superb.
and like they just but that doesn't mean that they don't do their work. That doesn't mean that they won't be doing their own work.
Hmm.
So basically,
It's okay. It will take time. And again, as I told you, it's not necessary that you speak like I would say a native speaker. It's a second language to us, and we are not big time pros at it. So it's perfectly fine, and you can have some breaks, small natural pauses. Like let me see the question. So young people in my country would not like to do works that are menial, as in India is mostly about reputation, and when you are involved in a blue collar job, you are not given that respect that you will get when you're a white collar worker. The second thing that they won't be very interested, that they won't be interested in, is that if the job pays a low salary, as in they would seek handsome salary packages, and because that they have to, even they are right, because they have to take care of the families, they have to fulfill their wishes and all, so that requires money. If the world requires money, people have the right to earn more money. So these two factors, like, explain also what your proposition is. Why would they not like this type of job? Getting me?
yes, sir. Sir, I have a doubt that like whether we'll be given some time to answer to this think about this or not. Like
In
few
part
minutes.
3, few minutes, 30 minutes is the
Few
whole
minutes.
duration. Few minutes is a lot to ask for. As I told you, 14 minutes is the whole duration. So if they give you, as in, part 3 itself lasts 4 to 5 minutes, you won't get a few minutes to think about it, but you can ask for 3-4 seconds. That is fine. As in, suppose is money always? Let's see question 3. Is money always the most important thing when choosing a job? Now, suppose I don't get the answer just like that. So money, let me think about it. Okay, money, in my opinion, is not the biggest thing. As in, it is one of the most important parameters, and I would consider it before choosing a job. But I would also see if the job aligns with my interests. If suppose, as in, I'm a language person, and if the job requires me to stay away from English books, I will not choose it, even if it pays me maybe $1 million a month. And another parameter that I can think of is that I would see the proximity also. Like I should be close to my family. I should not be it again, even if it paying me billions and I am, which is very, very hypothetical, but I am seas away from my family. Again, that would make money a relatively minor parameter. But in my locality, in my city, in my I would say in my domain and in my city, I will go for the job that pays the highest. As in, you can ask for you can think about, you can think when you are speaking like this can be a good thing. So money important or not, money is important as far as I can see. As in, I will choose a job, okay, so you have other parameters also and blah blah blah. You can develop your answer while you're speaking, that is also fine. Or you can take a small 2-3 second break, that is also fine.
And sir, I just want to ask that whether we have to speak in a faster tone or just like thinking and speaking, can we do that? Will that give a positive impact or negative impact?
A bit of your as in question was I was not able to hear. Repeat your question.
Sir, I'm just
First,
asking,
yeah, sorry.
like, if we speak in a faster tone, or we can speak like a little slower tone, so that we can memorize few more points. Will that give
See,
a positive or negative impact on speaking?
it's not about speaking. My natural pace is fast. So, as in, I know, as in when I speak, I have this tendency to speak a bit fast, but it's fine. And if a person speaks slow, as in at a relaxed pace, fluency doesn't mean speed. First of all, fluency is continuation. So, okay, I'm going to speak something. One second. Like the way I speak, you have seen many times, but this is also fine. Money is not the most important factor, I would say, because you look for other parameters also. There are some other indicators also. This is perfectly fine, no problem.
Because in this we can get a few seconds to think about
Yeah.
the next.
The only wrong thing will be like this. Money is not a relevant factor. So this is wrong.
Right, sir.
Money is not an important factor, right? Money is not an important factor according to the general perception. This is fine. And the way I speak, money is not an important factor according to me. According to me is actually a wrong phrase, sorry, in my opinion. So this is perfectly fine. And any way you choose, it should be continuous. It doesn't have to be rapid.
Correct, sir. And sir, while in speaking course, does any gestures pay importance to this?
Not at all.
Not at all, no?
No. As in, I even have heard these things that students say that their previous teachers have told that they should be looking into the eyes of the examiner, or they should be, their body should be controlled. Their clothes should be formal. Hardly does that matter. As far as I remember, on my speaking day, I think I'd worn rugged jeans. So I don't think that is formal in any way. So no problem. As in your clothes, your body language, your eye contact, none of these matters.
Right, sir.
And even if you want to speak, as in suppose you are the examiner and I'm speaking like this, looking in that direction, no problem.
Right, sir.
Fine. So today I give you the link to that, as in that IELTS Essentials video, and I give you a video that has sample answers spoken by me. And tomorrow I'll conduct your speaking test, and along with that, please have your reading test completed.
Yes, sir.
Fine. See you, Isha.
Fine. Okay, sir. Good evening.